There are a few questions in here. The first question is a practical question, not a philosophical one. Will there be meditation next week? Yes. Yeah, there will be meditation, but I wouldn't be here next week. But there will be meditation next week. Next question. How can I prevent myself from being quick to pass judgment on people and stop myself from acting angry towards them? Well, when you interact with people, if you don't know them, why don't we do it this way? Be compassionate and think that everybody is a future Buddha. You're walking by, you're passing by, and you are a future Buddha. You have that nature of becoming a Buddha. So for that reason, I respect you. If you work hard, I admire you for what you're doing. You are a future Buddha. He is really a future Buddha because he has that nature, that Buddhi nature in them. So you still have a judgment, but that's a favorable judgment. And I remember I answered that question before in Hong Kong in Chinese, and I have a very abrupt reaction from someone. He said, "What happened if that future Buddha strike in your face?" He's, striking you in the face is insane. Well, if that Buddha strike in the face, there must be a reason. Either he's insane, he's not mentally healthy, and of course you will be shocked, but you don't react with this in the same way. It's not a tooth for a tooth and an eye for an eye, because he's insane. There must be a reason for everything, cause and effect, causality. Sometimes the reason can be traced back to previous lives. There was a monk who translated one of the first sutras in China, and he was a prince in Iraq. An Shigao is his name, and in one life he was a prince of Iraq, and he was a monk. To make the story short, he traveled from Iraq to China to promote the Buddhist teaching. Now he traveled all the way, and when he reached Canton, Guangzhou Canton, something came to his mind, and he wrote a sheet of paper, and wrote words in it and put it in his own pocket, and then he continued traveling. And then he met someone with a bamboo stick, and there are heavy load on both ends. In China, they used to carry a bamboo stick with heavy loads on both ends, and that's how the trafficking and moving things around. And suddenly, one of the rope broke, and then the bamboo flipped, and bang! It flipped right on his head, on the monk's head, and he's dead, instant death. And then the police came and said, "Oh, did you kill this body? I didn't kill him. It's just the rope broke and the bamboo flipped onto his head. I didn't kill him." No, we got to go to the magistrate. So they carry the dead body and of course the accused to the courtroom and to see the magistrate. And then later they find out a note in the pocket of the dead person that is written like this: "I came here to repay my life. It's because of previous life's debt. Don't accuse the man who you think killed me. He didn't kill me. I just repay my debt, my life, because he killed him before, somehow accidentally. So it's a repaying of debt. So sometimes if someone treated you, you don't understand why. You don't understand why you and your husband were in courtship, you were in love, and then after 1 year, he didn't treat you well. He he was trying to leave you. Was not responsible. You have kids, and he was not responsible father. He gave all the burden to you, and you didn't know why. You're repaying him. You owe him something. You're repaying everything you owed him before in previous life. Some people say, that's unfair. I don't know. I don't know what happened in my previous life. How come I'm going to repay him? It's not unfair. You did something to him. It's you yourself. You did it. You can't say it is unfair because you are the doer. You were the doer of the action. Somebody killed you because maybe you killed him before. So, quick to pass judgment. Don't judge people. They're all future Buddhas. And stop acting angry towards them. Why do you have to act angry towards them? Because you don't like his face? Because you don't like his clothes? You don't like his appearance? Do not judge a person by appearance alone. We know that in primary school. The teachers always say, don't judge a person by appearance. He could be kind-hearted. Especially in North America. In the Asian culture, all those big shots, they dress in nice clothes. They go with good cars, and that's identified. That's a big shot. But in here, he could be a billionaire and he's wearing a jean and was jogging, and he was friendly, and you called him Joe, and you didn't know that he had a few $1 billion in his bank account. He's acting like an ordinary person. So why do you have to judge someone from appearance? Don't judge anybody by appearance. Don't judge anybody by race, by religion, by belief, by creed. Do not do that. This has nothing to do with the Buddha's teaching. This is something to do with your conscience. This is something to do with the general education in our society. We do not judge a person by his creed, his religion, the color of his skin. We don't do that. Maybe you should read something from Abraham Lincoln about this. Not even, it's all there. Okay, next question. Oh, very nice handwriting. Very neat. What is the nature of consciousness as compared to the spiritual world? What is the nature of consciousness as compared to the spiritual world? The nature of consciousness as compared to the spiritual world, I think that's a very general question, and these words are general. How do you compare consciousness to the spiritual world? I think spirituality concerns more of metaphysical stuff rather than physical stuff. Physical would be matters, would be something you can see, you can touch, you can sense. All those are physical stuff. They make up of molecules, protons, electrons. You can actually hear them, feel them, touch them. That's metaphysical. But I think spiritual concerns something above physical. In other words, your senses is not within the realm of your sensory organs, or not even in scientific equipment for perceptions and conceptualizations. So how does that metaphysical stuff compare to consciousness? Consciousness is not also metaphysical. Your consciousness, our consciousness. As I have mentioned before, we have 8 consciousnesses. Our 8 consciousnesses are polluted. Even the alaya consciousness, the banking consciousness, is polluted. It's polluted by what? What is the nature? What is the nature of consciousness? When we say nature, how do you nature classify in terms of good, bad, or not good, not bad? The nature of anything is generalization. Is generally the nature of everything can be classified as 3, having 3 natures. It's either good, if we can generalize, it is either good or bad or indifferent. Of course, This definition of how good is good, how bad is bad, but we don't want to discuss it in here. It takes a long time to discuss, but generally. So, consciousness, it has the nature of just three things. In you, in us, in that consciousness, in our consciousness, we store three kinds of seeds. The good seeds, the bad seeds, and the indifferent seeds. So it's either good, bad, or not good, neither good nor bad. So the nature of consciousness is either that. But then it's not just the nature of consciousness that you should be concerned with, it's how that consciousness arises. Maybe it's good to just repeat it again. You have to know it, because it's you. You are consciousness, I am consciousness. We have 8 consciousnesses, and we have 6 doors, because the first consciousness to the 6th Manu consciousness, the 6th consciousness have doors in them, because they're open for perception, for receiving from outside. They are the salesmen, as I said. They're the salesmen. They interact with customers. They interact with outsiders. From the first consciousness, the eye, the ear, the nose, the taste, the tongue, and the body and the brain, and all that interact with outside. So they have doors in them. And these other 2, they don't have doors. They're stored inside of you. That is the ego consciousness, which is the manas consciousness. And that, what is that? What is that? That is the manager. He's sitting not in front, he's sitting right at the back office. He's controlling everything. He's controlling all the salesmen. And then how about 8 consciousness? That's the board of director. They control further. So that's our consciousness. All our doors interact to people, eyes, ears, nose, interact to people. And when we interact with the outside world, our doors are open. When our doors are open, not just the consciousness, not just we see, at the same time, so there's 51 mental formations. In other words, your jealousy, your hatred, your fear, your disappointment, your greediness, your arrogance, all your egoistic attitude. At the same time, when the salesmen are interacting with the customers, they stereotype them. They discriminate them. Oh, this guy is going to buy this guy is a stingy guy. I don't have to spend too much time with him. When I ask him something, I already know what kind of customers he is. Oh, this guy is loaded. I got to talk to him more. And this guy is a picky guy. Maybe I should start something that is not that good, and then I go up to certain levels because he's picky. If I start with something very good, then I don't have a choice for him. So in other words, when you are interacting, when the salesmen are interacting with the outside environments, he's creating all these judgments. Exactly that's what you're talking about. You are passing judgment on them. Those are mental formations. And what is this manager doing? This manager is controlling, because the manager is working for the company. All customers must benefit the company. You rip the customers off, not ripping the board of directors off. You're egoistic. That manager is the ego in you. That ego is dominating all the salesmen. The salesmen have no choice. And that manager is also having file cabinets behind them. File cabinets of the past. He can dig up histories. It's just like when you are sitting in there, I'm not interacting. I close my eyes, close my ears, and how come I'm still thinking? I'm thinking of yesterday, because you opened your yesterday's files. The manager opened up. The manager in you opened yesterday's file, last year's file. You mourn on your grief, your grief-stricken past. You feel happy about your joyous moment. All these interactions in you, even if the doors are closed, you still interact with them, and thus the internal things in you that's interacting. And the customers are crude interactions. The more subtle ones are the inside. Some people said, no. I didn't open my doors all the time. What happened in my dream? I'm dreaming. I don't open my eyes. My ears are not listening to anything. I'm dreaming, so I have all my doors closed. No, your manager is still working right inside. You dream. In your dream, what do? Your manager still see things, still checking all those files, checking all those salesman's records. In your dream, you've been doing everything. In your dream, you also make budgets. You also worry about the future. Your fear of death. Many things happen in your mind. And in the process of this consciousness interaction, you are accumulating a lot of what? A lot of sales. What is this sales? That's your karma. You have all these actions and deeds and good deeds and bad deeds. You lie, you kill, you fabricate stories, you fight, you yell, you curse. You did wrong things to your wife, to your husbands, to your kids. You're an alcoholic father, you're not responsible. You've forsaken your wife and your family. You remorse on them. All kinds of things happen in the process of this interaction of yourself with the outside world, even if even with yourself. So if you ask me what is the nature of consciousness, I can go on and on. I'm just giving you a simple example. An example of a car sale, an example of a dealership. And some people say, it's too complicated. I don't care about these things. I just go on my way of living. Okay, then you continue to be jealous, you continue to be egoistic, you continue all your sufferings. You continue all these sufferings because you're creating all this karma. You don't know what is bad and good. You go around and fooling around. You think, that's nice, that's good. As long as it satisfies my senses. I turn on my YouTube and I can see lots of things that satisfy my senses, satisfies my listening function. I go see movies. I get involved with one night stand. That's what I am. I like that. People like that, I remember I saw something in the newspaper that there's a club called the One Night Stand Club. I don't understand why they call it that club, One Night Stand Club. Does it mean that it attracts customers and say everybody come in here would have a one night stand? In other words, they can't stay for 2 nights? I don't really know. What happened if I'm a healthy guy and I just want to go golfing and swimming and I stay for 2 nights? You go next door? So, I don't know. It's a wrong name. And there's also a name attracting government interruption to check if anything wrong in there using that name. I remember there was a guy who told me that he just returned from a one night stand club. I said, how can you tell anybody about that name? That's where you've been? I think that's called stupidity. You're disclosing your privacy without knowing it. Okay, next question. Does everything in the universe have consciousness? Elaborate. Wow, you're very demanding. Does everything in the universes have consciousness? I think everything has consciousness if you have consciousness. You exist. The universe exists because you exist. I am. I'm here because I am. Because all your interaction is because it's coming out of your consciousness. So if you're conscious, how can anything be unconscious? Because you're interacting with it. So I think everything has consciousness, is nothing but consciousness, or mere consciousness. In the Buddhist teaching, it's called Vijnana Matrata, consciousness only. It's a very profound school of the Buddhist teaching. Thousands of volumes. As a matter of fact, universities like to research into Vijnana Matrata. For example, in Yale University, they study the Vijnana Matrata of the Buddhist teaching. Almost in every university, they have a section on Buddhism, and they highly emphasize on Vijnana Matrata, which is consciousness, the study of the consciousness. Also, they have the studies of Sunyata, which is emptiness, and there's 8 profound schools of teaching in the Buddhist teaching. There's thousands and thousands of volumes, and billions of words. The Buddhist teaching is probably the most resourceful, the most profound study of human behavior in the world. You have to know something about it. Don't spend your time wastefully doing anything else at your spare time. Buddhism is the way to go, because it's not just worshiping. Worshipping is only a very small aspect of it. It's the philosophy. It's the wisdom. It's a whole treasure, a whole mountain of treasure. When you open that gate, you've got to venture in to find out more. So does anything in the universe have consciousness? Yes, everything has consciousness. You see how beneficial it is to come to a Buddhist temple to know about these things. Imagine what would you have done had you not come to the temple? Maybe you have spent your time somewhere else doing something that is not worthwhile. Now you're on your way to look for more wisdom. You're on your search to know more about yourself. When you know more about yourself, then you know others, you understand others. Third question, how do we know when our heart is pure? If you continue meditation, if you continue to do samatha and vipassana, you know that all your thoughts are under control. In the Diamond Sutra, the first question is very important. For all those meritorious ladies, gentlemen and ladies, if they make vow for achieving the Bodhi mind, how do they maintain that peace in their mind? If mental afflictions arise, how do they control them? So the question is, how do we know when our heart is pure? When you know that your first step is to control your mind, if you can control all your wandering thoughts, desultory thoughts, knowing these thoughts come up, and you can control them, you're on your way to purity. When everything is under your control, you know when to stop. You know that I can't do this, I can't do that, because this will bring forward a lot of bad consequences, and you're under control. All your thoughts are under control. That monkeying mind that Lee has been talking about, monkeying mind, all this monkeying mind that go everywhere to look for fun, and which are hurting yourself and hurting other people. All this monkeying mind, you put that monkey on a leash, you always put it back. It's within your realm of attention. It's under your control. When it's under your control, you cannot be polluted for too long, because you have this anti-pollution program in you. You started to You started to test your air, your water, everything. Everything is under your control. You have an anti-pollution program in you. Previously, you don't. You just allow your mind to be polluted. Now you have an anti-pollution program. That program to purify your mind. Don't you need that program first before talking about how pure your mind is? You don't even have that program now. And you're talking about the content. You're talking about what happened to me when that program is enforced. What happened to me? You don't even know what program to set up. In other words, you're talking about security of your own house. And you're talking about after installing that security, what would happen? You don't even have that security in place. You need to understand the functions first, how it prevents, before going too deep into it. Okay, so that's how you, when your mind is pure, first step is samatha, and then it's vipassana. You put your mind under control, get that anti-pollution program in place. When you got that, you're marching towards purity. Are all minds connected? Are you talking about telepathy? Yeah, that's the next question. Are all minds connected? Some people's minds are connected, but are all minds connected? I think somehow some mental functions are general functions, so they function in the same way. Some are specific. The generalizations are the same, provided that your senses are normal. In other words, my eyes see, my ears listen, my tongue tastes. So in that way, it's the same function. But there are specific functions. We have the same mind, we have the same generalizations of the mental formations, but I'm thinking in a different way. I'm pursuing wisdom, and you are not. You're pursuing arrogance. You're pursuing greediness. You're pursuing materiality. I'm pursuing spirituality. So there's specifics of the mind and generalizations of the mind. There are common characteristics and there are specific characteristics. So in that sense, minds are not exactly connected. They're not exactly the same. But there is the same characteristics in minds too. The general characteristics and specific general characteristics. And those general formations are responsible for the common karma. Specific of the mind concerns with specific karma. What is common karma and what is specific karma? Common karma, we're enjoying the same Safeway. You can go in Safeway to shop, I can go in Safeway to shop. We enjoy the same hospitals, we're breathing the same air. That is the same. That's common karma. We're coming to the same world. It's common. We're enjoying the same consequences of the world. That's common karma. But again, there's specificity in the commonality of it. What is that? You are rich and I'm poor. When you go to Safeway, you can buy the best product, the organic product, because you're loaded, you're rich. I'm not. It's specific. Now you know. Why don't you just continue that spiritual odyssey? There's a lot more than what I'm telling you right now. There's a lot of other things that I don't even know of. I just know the tip of the iceberg, but not even the tip, maybe just the first 2 inches. I don't even know what is underneath. It suffices to know that life is not just eating and sleeping and struggling for money, status, and all that. The Buddha said, right now you got that life in you. You value it. You treasure it. It's impermanent. You use that lifetime to achieve, to arrive at permanent stuff, eternity stuff. Not always pursuing for impermanence. Have we suffered enough? Have we seen enough suffering? Go beyond the suffering. Next question. What is the nature of telepathy and consciousness? Telepathy, I think, is the knowing, I know your mind. I think that's what it is. I can read your mind, understand your mind. If we are talking about the 9 stages of mental development and meditation, and the highest point after you become successful in achieving these 9 stages is, the highest point is you will be having equanimity of mind, which is the highest samadhi in the Dhamma Dhatu. When you reach that point, you have telepathy. You can read minds. You can read minds, you can know, you have a lot of things that's open up for you. But you're not greedy for that. You don't attach to it. It comes and it comes, it goes and it goes. Sometimes the saints can read your mind. They know what's going to happen in a few years. When you achieve that equanimity of mind, because the mind is extremely powerful. The mind, even with that tip of the iceberg, they created the whole world. They create the rocket to go to the moon. They create scientific developments, just even with that tip of iceberg. Imagine what is underneath it. With that, you open up a whole horizon of humanity, of spirituality. So you have to search more for it. Next question. When we are having a meditation, what should we take to better for the object of mind? In other words, you want to say what is the best object of attention? So when you meditate, you need that object of attention to meditate on. Right now, Lee's been talking about it. Remember, we used the nose tip. We concentrate that object of attention. We create that for everybody. We would use that as the nose tip, the air in and air out. Anapanasati. Air in, you feel the air coming in. When the air goes out, you feel the air going out. So you're sitting right at the tip of the nose, feeling the air in and out and in and out. You use that as your object of attention. In other words, you use that as your leash for the monkey. You need a leash for the monkey. The monkey will go away. Your monkeying mind will go away. You need that leash to pull it back, right? That leash is right at the nose tip. Don't ask me where is the leash. I don't want to go to the shop to buy it for you. It's not a leash that you get it from a dog shop. This nose tip. It's right with you. So you use that nose tip attention as your leash to control that monkey.